got laid off from that job a week after I closed on the house.
Wow.
And I remember being on before the day I got let go, or we parted ways.
Yeah.
I was on the floor praying to God, please get me out of this situation. I'm so close to where I want to be.
Wow.
Please get me out of this situation. I want to be an actor. I'm right here. I don't have time to audition. I can't go into the city. And so an hour later, I'm driving to work, and then my boss calls. I said, oh, Jesus, not today.
Today's guest is not only a talented actor, you've also seen him on stage and on screen, but he's also my dear friend, which makes this conversation extra special. Anthony E. Williams has one of the most unique paths into acting.
All right, I tried when I was 17 to tell my father I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And his famous line was, okay, for the next 4 years, act like you're going to be a businessman for the rest of your life and go to college.
The risk that you take in pursuing the craft, you take it in the craft.
It takes three times for people to recognize. That's
Okay,
another
I love
marketing
that.
tactic. I remember the first time I auditioned for you, like, you look familiar. And I hadn't done anything, but I had been sending you materials for years, and my answer was, well, yeah, I'm an actor.
You treat your career as if this was a tech startup company.
So, but my deal with God was, I want to be an actor. If you exist, this will happen.
Yeah.
And my answer from God was, okay, but you have to give it everything.
Ooh. Taught me a lot about letting go and moving on.
In 6 scenes, I ended up in 9 scenes. I got thrown out of 3 scenes.
Welcome to the Act Up podcast, where we interview industry professionals who act down. My name is Raven Drummer, and welcome to season 2 of the Act Up podcast. Before we begin, please make sure that you subscribe. Also, please make sure that you comment, share, and like. We have a lot of really exciting episodes for you this season, and you want to be the first to know. All right, so today's guest is not only a talented actor, you've also seen him on stage and on screen, but he's also my dear friend, which makes this conversation extra special. Anthony E. Williams has one of the most unique paths into acting, from earning his MBA to navigating jobs, to working across LA, New York, and Atlanta. He's figured out how to blend business savvy and creative passion. What I love about Anthony is his boldness. Oh, I love Anthony's boldness. He's the kind of actor who makes strong choices, brings unforgettable moment before us to every scene, and truly isn't afraid to play. We're going to talk about his journey into acting, the lessons he's learned along the way, how he approached the craft, and of course, what the future looks like for him. So please welcome my dear friend, Mr. Anthony E. Williams. Woo! How is that?
I wouldn't have written that. I mean, that's great. I always think it's funny when they say, my dear friend. This time it's actually
Genuinely,
true.
but he's also the godfather to my daughter.
I wasn't going to say it. You know, I wasn't
like
gonna
my
mention it.
dear friend. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
You flew all the way from Texas just to be here.
I'm forever flying from someplace to be there. So.
I so appreciate you today.
Yeah, I'm a local hire for you all the time.
You actually kind of
Yeah.
are, but yeah. All right, so we're gonna have fun today. We're just gonna keep it, Anthony is the friend that you make sure is not on speakerphone when he calls, so we're gonna keep it somewhat PC today. But
That's my warning. That's my warning. That's not their warning. That's my warning.
That's yours. Yes,
right.
Exactly.
I'll do my best.
All right, well, let's start at the beginning. So how did you first decide that you wanted to pursue acting professionally?
I mean, it sounds corny, but I didn't decide. I was always an actor. What I
Yeah.
didn't understand was why everybody else wasn't pursuing it. So like my cousin JJ was so funny, and my cousin Corey was good looking, and my cousin Tina was supposed to be a model. And I was like, I saw everybody, all my family in entertainment, and nobody went after it. Then finally I realized this is not what everybody wants to do. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I was always like the class clown and storytelling, but I mean, once I hit my 30s, it was like it had passed me by. And so I was like, all right, I tried when I was 17 to tell my father I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And his famous line was, okay, for the next 4 years, act like you're going to be a businessman for the rest of your life and go to college. So I was always saying my father was a murderer. He killed my dreams.
Oh.
So, but then I had a talk with my wife at 32. I was in Virginia. I was working for GE. And we were making up the bed, and I said, I really feel like I should be an actor. And she was like, this is like the 30th time saying this.
Wow.
She gave me 2 options. She said, you can either just accept that you're a businessman and move on with your life.
Yeah.
or you can go after it and you can fail miserably. But what you can't do is live in this house and talk about what you coulda, woulda, shoulda done. And so that
Ooh.
was around October, January. I started taking classes, then started
Yeah.
going to New York, and I realized it's not about where you are; it's where you're trying to go. And
Yeah.
so I started taking Amtrak up and down from DC to New York, and got my first commercial agent, and got my SAG card, and took off from there.
One of the things I love about you and about your story is that you are an actor that started in your 30s. You know, it's not like went to film school and acting school. You actually started what some would call later in life, even though I think
Right.
32 is young. So, I love that you are evidence that you can start at whatever age and still have tremendous success within the industry. So, what did your training look like in the beginning? Where did you train? Did you train in DC, in New York?
Yeah. So that's a great question. In DC in Virginia, I took Sheila Rhodes' acting class, and I took every single acting class that she had.
Wow.
And it got to the point where my wife was like, "How many times are you going to be going to Virginia to take acting classes?"
Yeah.
And I remember one time there was a gentleman in the acting class. He was like, "Anthony, are you going to take this next class?"
Yeah.
And the teacher said, "No, Anthony's done. He's going to go fly."
Wow.
And I sat there like, oh, because it aligned with what my wife had said.
Wow.
And I went home and I talked to her. She was like, "Yeah, you're done. You're done with Virginia." And then I was doing independent films, showing up on set. And, oh, we had the wrong call sheet. And I drove an hour there and copying a credit.
Yeah.
And she was like, I did an independent film. Kyle Romanek was the director. I think he was in his early 20s, my first feature film. And I starred in it, and I was signing autographs after the premiere.
Oh
My wife was
gosh.
like, "That's it for Virginia. Like, you're not going to be a big fish in a small
Yeah.
pond." And I was like, "Well, New York." And she's like, "You need to go fail."
Ooh.
And so
Ooh.
I went to, she's going to hate that I tell this story. So I go to New York. I finally have the weekend. I go to New York. I set up all these meetings, and I paid someone to send out all my resumes. And when I came back, I was with DDO commercially and Innovative commercially. And I want to say like this is only a couple years ago. I said to my wife, "How did you know I was going to make it? Like, when you sent me to New York, and,
Yeah.
I really only had one independent film. I didn't have anything."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I didn't think you were going to make it. I thought you were going to get it out of your system." I
Oh,
thought,
wow.
she didn't say, she was like, "I didn't know," but she was like, "I
Yeah.
really thought you were just going to get it out of your system.
Yeah.
This is how it really is, and come back and, figure out the rest of your life." But I
Wow.
came back with two agents. And it's one of those things, like, sometimes your girl believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I only went up there because she told me to.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. Did you say she said that you needed to fail, or what was it? What did you say?
She want if New York was going to be too big for me,
Gotcha.
then you need to find that out.
Gotcha. Okay, understood.
Because
That's what
what
I
she
wanted to
didn't want
yes.
is me to stay in Virginia talking about, I could be on Law and Order, I could be on this, but
I
I
love
just
that.
gotta stay small. She was like, "No, you need to go find out."
I love that. So looking back, do you feel like there was any mistake that you made early on in your career?
It's so funny you say that. Like, I think I saw Tyler Perry say this on a podcast. There are no mistakes.
Yeah.
Because my journey is my journey,
Yeah.
and every mistake probably led to me correcting.
Yeah.
The best thing I did, not a mistake, the best thing I did was not listen to people. I had a friend that was like, "You can't go to New York. You can't get an agent. You can't get a SAG waiver from doing background." And I
Yeah.
did House of Cards, and I just kept bugging the person, really just to show the guy I could did it. And so I got my first SAG waiver doing
Was
background
on House of Cards.
on House of Cards.
Oh, nice.
And then I was like, "Oh, he didn't know what he's talking about."
Yeah.
And then I realized nobody knows what they're talking about. And so I used my ignorance as kind of like my engine, because I didn't know any better. And so I didn't know. So I went to DDO, and I had the meeting with Jerry Kay, my first agent, and he comes in the meeting after I like read for him. He goes, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I'm not sure." He goes, "You got to have a commercial for Kraft Foods."
Wow.
I had never even been to a SAG audition before.
Wow.
And so, like, I didn't, most people would be like, "You can't just go up there, meet with an agent, and then have
Yeah.
an audition the next day." But I didn't know any better.
Yeah, yeah. This is so good. I want to go into the play that we worked on, but I'm like, Raven, take your time. Okay, anyway, so
But my point is,
Yeah.
listening to people at your level,
yeah.
or maybe even a level above you, is the worst thing you can do. If you have a talent and you have a dream, you got to follow your dream.
Absolutely.
You can't listen to people.
You're really good at that. You're really good at listening to your own voice and moving forward. Not a lot of actors are, and a lot of actors are waiting for validation. You're really, really excellent at staying true to yourself. Where does that come from?
My father, I don't know, I get emotional, but my father is
Yeah.
like, He was
This is a safe
he
place,
was
just so you know.
A&T. Both my parents graduated from A&T. Both of
Yeah.
them graduated from
And that's North Carolina
North Carolina
A&T.
A&T,
Yeah.
John Hopkins University grad school. But
Wow.
he took me to his farm when we were kids, and we grew up suburbs and
Yeah.
living nice. And
Yeah.
man, he pulls up. I mean, I must have been like 8 or 9, and we pull up to this house, and I couldn't see the house. It was this little farmland because he grew up a sharecropper. His dad was a
Wow.
sharecropper, and there's this little hut, and he was like, "Hey kids, this is my house," and I was like, "What happened to it? Like, where's the house?" And he was like, "No,
That's the house.
that's the house." And just
Wow.
tears.
Wow.
And then he told me how my grandfather didn't want him to go to college, wanted to stay and
Wow.
work the farm, and it's like
Oh.
he took me home from the hospital in a Mercedes. So I'm like
Ugh.
from sharecropping to that. So my distance has to be just as far. That's my tax to myself. And so from the suburbs to wherever I end up, I have to have the same distance so that my daughter can travel the same distance. So,
Okay, let's talk about this. So you have an MBA. You are
Master's in Business Administration. Not
Yes.
everybody knows.
Okay, thank you.
People are like, "What's your MBA?" And I'm like, "Whoo."
And I think one of the things that's so special about you is that, let's say you're a businessman. You said that earlier, and you approach the career of being an actor almost like a businessman would. So can you talk about how your MBA has helped you in your pursuit of being a professional actor?
Yeah, I mean, I got a communications degree as well, which helps
Okay,
with
thanks.
public speaking and
Yes,
things of
yeah.
that nature. But it's like I take the emotion out of it. I take even, the fact that I feel like I'm talented out of it. And
Yeah.
I do. What if I had zero talent? Well, how would I do this? And so, famously, one of my things is one of my favorite stories about LL Cool J when he was trying to get signed.
Yeah.
He went to a record store, and he wrote down all the addresses. I don't know if this is true or not. I read this somewhere.
Yeah.
Wrote down all the addresses to all the record labels to send out his demo.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, well, if you give it to everybody, somebody's gonna be interested.
Yeah.
And so even when sometimes I work with actors, especially during the pandemic, to get signed because I'm pretty good at working with agents and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want you to do this. This is how we put the package together. This is how we're gonna do the email. Then you send it to everybody. And they say, well, who's everybody? And I just kind of look at them. They're like, well, because I want this agent, and then I want to be in this town. I was like, everybody.
Yeah.
There's not an agent in North America or Canada who doesn't know my name, who doesn't have 3 of my resumes and headshots in the trash.
So now, do you do this? So you send your, are you emailing them? Your everything? Are you mailing them?
Now it's email.
Okay.
Because now it's like I got a screenshot of me and Olivia Benson arguing in the email. Like it's different now.
Yeah.
But before, it was an email with my PowerPoint. But I would send, this.
Yes, I know.
You threw some of my postcards in the trash. So I sent a postcard. I would send a postcard out,
Yeah.
and then I would send a headshot and resume out, and then I'd hit the website and an email.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think it takes 3 times for people to recognize you. I remember the first time I auditioned for
say
you.
that again. It
Takes 3 times for people to recognize you. That's
Okay, I
another
love
marketing
that.
tactic. I remember the first time I auditioned for you, you were like, you look familiar. And I hadn't done anything, but I had been sending you materials for years, and my answer was, well, yeah, I'm an actor.
Yeah. But I mean, like you market yourself.
You have to. Who's going to do it?
Yeah, and I love that you do that, because I think that is a great tool and tactic. Now what is now, I don't know if you're the person to ask this. So like, what is that line between persistence and doing the most?
I'll tell you when I've done the most. So in New York, there's a place called Actors Connection where you could go in and you can go in front of a panel of agents.
Yeah.
And so, and I would always do training day. Training day was, and not King Kong. It was right after they shot Roger. It was like, it's a perfect scene where he's kind of manipulating the person.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, he's damn near crying because he's like pulling him in as a son.
Yeah.
And the guy says, oh, he was your friend and you killed him. He said, he's my friend. Why? Huh? Because he knows my first name. That's the game. I'm playing his ass. And everybody would think when I started to do training day, oh, he's going to do this particular scene. And then they're like, oh, I never seen anybody do this scene before. Yeah. So anyway, they give you the feedback, and this would kill me. Outstanding, great detective, great look, love it. Never hear from them. And so they would give me all this great feedback, all 5s, and I would never get called in. Yeah. So then what I would do is, now you understand, this is their actual writing that they gave me.
Yeah.
So I took their writing, my headshot resume, and I would FedEx it, not mail. I would FedEx it. So they had to sign for it at the agency. And when they opened it, it would say, see below. And below was their own handwriting about what they said for me. And then I said, why would you not call me in? that was the most. That was, it was the FedEx that did it for people. Like the people at the church like, hey, Anthony, come here. Did you FedEx CAA? And
Yes.
did you send Abrams their own handwriting? I said,
Their own notes on
was
you.
that wrong? Like, like Seinfeld, was that wrong? Because if I knew it was wrong, I would have never.
But the thing I love it is you treat your career as if this was a tech startup company. Like you treat it as if you are literally pitching, trying to get investors. And I think that that's a very unique take that a lot of artists and actors don't take.
Well, I also did, I'll tell another quick story, but I did this thing where I was in my 30s and I was frustrated and had gone to school. I didn't have the success that I wanted. And I made this, I was questioning my belief in religion and God. And so I was reading the Bible a little bit and it's like, okay, so if God will give you anything you want, then I can be an actor at 33 and with no six pack, you know? So
Oh, gosh.
I did that without a six pack. And so, but my deal with God was, I want to be an actor. If you exist, this will happen.
Yeah.
And my answer to God from God was, okay, but you have to give it everything.
Ooh.
Everything. And so at my lowest point after I left Atlanta, which you told me not to do, and I went to New York. I didn't listen to you.
Great.
I had no agent. The only audition I was getting from you, and I was going to my coach, Lori Odom, and she in her class she goes, find the show you want to be on the most, and take the headshot and resume to that casting office in New York. This is pre-COVID. So of course I pulled up every show in New York, and I printed out 40 copies of my headshot and resume.
Yeah.
And I decided over the next week, I was going to go to every single casting office. Now, I walked into offices in the middle of a meeting where they all looked up like this. And without saying a word, I just took out my headshot resume, put it on the desk, looked at them, and walked out. And they're like, is he crazy? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Yes.
I'll never forget the casting office for Blue Bloods, which I think eventually booked me on something else on Blacklist. They booked me on Blacklist. I'll never forget, I go, they knew I was coming, right? Because I had to get buzzed in downstairs. And I went to open the door and the door is locked. And I could hear them talking inside. And I had that feeling in my chest like, oh man, they don't want you. And I said, but God said you got to give it everything. So I'll never forget, I go in my bag and I slide the headshot and resume under the locked door. And I hear, well, damn. So fast forward that to, I go to the Law and Order office. I don't know why I can't think of the casting office right now. Jonathan Strauss. And they were smooth. They had a box because I'm not the only person in New York hustling. Right.
Especially Law and Order. Yeah.
Get your hustling asses and put it in this box so that we don't have to have you walking in and sliding under the table. And I'll never forget the headshot I put in the box. I didn't have an agent. So 3-4 months later, I had an agent. I get called in for Law and Order. They don't go through my agent. So I go to the audition, and I said to him, I said, hey, is there a reason why you didn't go through my agent? They're like, oh, we got your headshot out the box. And so 3 or 4 auditions later, guest starred on Law and Order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dun dun.
Oh, that's so good. I want to talk about doing whatever it takes. Going off script a little bit here. Because I think I personally started to realize that I'm trying to achieve my goals in comfort. In that I want the results, but I also want to remain comfortable in doing it. And I think a lot of artists can do that too, where I want to be an actor, but when you say do whatever it takes, if it makes me feel uncomfortable or embarrassed, or if I have to pick up and move, to a different city, like that's going to take me out of my comfort.
Yeah.
So can you talk about what doing whatever it takes has looked like for you? Because I know like you've lived in Atlanta. You've lived in New York. We're about to talk about you about to move to another city. Yeah. And to me, I think for you and your family, you really have embraced that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna give a long answer to this, but whatever it takes, whether it's, I was emailing you and sending you stuff, and I've manifested my relationship with you.
Literally.
And then after moving to Atlanta and booking, some one-liners, co-stars, small roles, and then I did one commercial where I was talking to a bear. But I did my TV pilot Fam in Atlanta, which got into 50 film festivals. But I wanted the NBCs and the ABCs. And I wasn't booking in Atlanta at that level. I remember we had lunch. I remember you looking me dead in the face. And you're like, Anthony, don't take this the wrong way, but if you haven't made it where you want in Atlanta, what makes you think New York is gonna?
I said that
Yes,
to
you did. Yes,
Oh.
we were eating tacos. It was Taco Tuesday, and I said I got to go find out. And I said I've already been to New York.
Yeah.
And I just felt like everyone has insecurities. I just feel like in LA and in Atlanta, the look mattered, or they were looking for a particular look that I just didn't have. And in New York, they damn near are blind. They're like, can you act?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
one, it's not about, even
about
the
the
breakdowns
crafts.
in New York barely even talk about race. They say
Yeah.
almost always open ethnicity unless there's a particular reason. And so I just knew that once I got up there, it would work out. So I took a job with PepsiCo. And it was horrific. They bought my house in Atlanta. I go up there. I'm working for Frito-Lay. I'm delivering chips. I'm making six figures with the NBA, delivering Doritos in Long Island getting up at 4:00 in the morning
Yeah.
to be on a truck. And I'm staring at the skyline of Brooklyn on the way there. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm right outside of heaven. I'm so close. And my wife always talks about, I kept playing the song by 50 Cent. I got to make it to heaven by going through hell. And so we lived in Edgewater, New Jersey for 6 months. I was commuting 3 hours a day to Long Island. It was horrific. It was horrible. Finally got the money together, bought a house in Westchester, got laid off from that job a week after I closed on the house.
Wow.
And I remember being on before the day I got let go, or we parted ways.
Yeah.
I was on the floor praying to God, please get me out of this situation. I'm so close to where I want to be.
Wow.
Please get me out of this situation. I want to be an actor. I'm right here. I don't have time to audition. I can't go into the city. And so an hour later, I'm driving to work, and then my boss calls. I said, ooh, Jesus, not today, Jesus. Well, I didn't mean today, Jesus.
Right.
And so then the job was gone. I negotiated a great deal. They had to pay on my house for 3 years.
Wow.
I got full salary for the next year or so. And guess what I got paid to do for that year is audition. And I booked 8 roles in 12 months.
Oh my gosh.
Right when COVID hit. And then that's when I booked all those 8 roles in 12. So
my
my resume
gosh.
significantly changed from the day I left Atlanta to a year and a half later.
Oof. You have taught me a lot about letting go and moving on. And I mean that, and like you said to me numerous times, like the first time you quit a job, it was like, oh, okay.
My favorite thing to do.
Right. It was like you quit a job, and there's something that you said, there's a quote or something, and it was the energy of it made me realize that I can still make a living. I can still pursue everything I want to do. It doesn't have to be this thing.
I live in abundance. Even when I'm insecure, I live in abundance.
Yeah.
But like, I'm really bad about it. When I quit a job and I'm very professional.
Yes.
I speak the King's English, but
Yes.
that's the day I tell my boss with my MBA, I'm putting in my ghetto 2-week notice. And they say, what's your ghetto 2-week notice? For the next 2 weeks, you're going to notice my black ass ain't doing nothing. And, I just feel I cut it right there. Like, I'm still going to be there for 2 weeks, but I'm not going to be there for 2 weeks.
But I mean, like, okay, so is there any fear of like, okay, you quit your job, what's the next thing?
My wife says my superpower is I'm scared after.
Ooh.
I'm scared after. I did improv on Law and Order, and I totally changed the script. And improv, as you know, is known for comedy.
Yes.
And Benson's yelling at me, and I'm yelling at her, and she's getting out of her chair, and we're recreating the scene.
Yeah.
And I call them the police. The police in the corner is the script supervisor.
Yeah.
I said, oh shit, here she comes. And script supervisor comes over and she goes, Anthony, they like everything you're doing, but this one line you have to do perfectly. I said, they like everything I'm doing? All right, fine. Yeah. And I cried the whole way home because I was so scared I was going to get fired.
Oh.
And then back to Young Dylan, I had all these ad-libs when you booked me on Young Dylan, my first guest star, first time getting flown back into Atlanta, first class.
Come on.
Couldn't book from Roswell.
Yes,
so
that's true.
I remember, I'll never forget being in the green room, and I had all these jokes, and I called my wife, and I said, listen, I got all these jokes. It's not in the script. It's my first big shot. I'm going to get thrown out if I do this.
Yeah.
I should just do it as written and play it safe. She said, get thrown out. I said, what? She said, you didn't do all this to go up there and play it safe. Playing it safe never got you there.
Yeah.
And I did every joke and ad-libs and everything.
Can we let's go into performance stuff. This is my favorite thing to talk about with you probably, because the same risk that you take in pursuing the craft, you take it in the craft.
Yeah.
So,
Real quick, you did ask me about training. I did
yes.
train at the Groundlings in Los Angeles.
Okay, there you go.
And Bob Krakauer, which is the on-camera guru in New York.
Okay.
And T-Saw Studio. So I didn't want to say like I took one class, went to New York,
No,
and I was on Lauren.
but you've done a lot of different. As you said, you took every single class that
Yeah.
that woman had to offer. So
Everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you take a lot. Like you are an actor that takes risks, and Anthony and I, we had the pleasure. I directed you in a play, and I said you're a director's dream because you are constantly playing and giving us new things to work with, and sometimes you go all the way down.
We have lots of examples.
So
I was thrown out of rehearsals a couple
let's
times.
get to the examples. So first example that I have, I did a play called Unholy War, and this Anthony had
Dewey Gerard, great play.
yes, written by Dewey Gerard, incredible play. One of my favorite, most memorable experiences, and really like the birth of our friendship, I would say, would be doing that.
You were late to the party. I always knew this was happening.
I see it, yeah, but yes, eventually I got there.
Yeah.
But one of the things I remember most, so you played the character of JP, and JP is this kind of smooth, maniacal, manipulative guy, and he does some drugs too.
Yeah.
So he does like cocaine, I believe. Yeah. And that's what the character
I like how
does.
you say it slowly, like it's the first you've heard of it.
I know, right? Okay, right. And so during the rehearsals, I just put a little bit of like flour in a Ziploc bag just to play with, not to actually do anything, like just to have it so you could just have something to work with. What did you do with that flour?
So it was to the point where we're getting close to the actual play.
Yes.
And at the point you guys took away scripts.
Yes.
Which I didn't need because I was so scared. I was off book like really
from
early
day
on.
one, yeah.
And we were amped up. We're going to do it for real. And we
Yeah.
said we're going to do it for real. We're not going to stop. We're
Yeah.
going to do it for real. And so it's time for me to do the cocaine. I did the whole line.
A
And I looked
flour.
up, Raven was like, and Dewey was like, this. And I remember just saying, no good. And next thing I know, I couldn't breathe. They had to bring in water. Was I going to go to the hospital? Was I not?
Right.
And I mean, Dewey's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, you said you're just going to do it for real. Like, I don't know.
I know.
I don't know where the stop button
why
is.
did you do that?
You said for real. So we're doing it for real.
Hilarious. Can we talk straw too?
We can. But real quick, when we talk
Yes.
about doing whatever, and we have a
Yeah.
couple stories like this.
Yes,
I was
a ton.
in, my wife had a big event at the Ritz-Carlton in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at when I got the audition for the very next day with 8 to 10 pages for that play.
Wow. Yeah.
Which
it's a lot.
technically was unpaid, but has paid me dearly over the years.
Yes.
And then I never forget my wife coming back from the convention and my bags were packed and I'm fully dressed and I'm sitting on the couch and she said, Raven called? And so on the flight back, there was 2 women who were dancers, Puerto Rican dancers, and they're going to a dance competition. And they read with me for the 2-hour flight back. And I stayed up all night learning my lines and then went in, I think it was like 11 o'clock a.m. And I was like, this is either going to be the beginning of a great relationship with Raven. I'm going to start booking completely.
Yeah.
Or she's never going to call me in again because the stuff I was about to do was going to disqualify me from either or.
Yes, and you do this constantly. Like it's not just with me. Like if someone calls and it's like, hey, they have an opportunity for you. Like you will make a way, and not a lot of people do that.
Well, we're gonna talk about straw, and the other thing is like you got whatever you start with, you have to keep, right? And so that hunger and that ability to show up to do whatever it takes. I was booked on a film Screenboat that's now on Peacock in New York when you booked me on Straw.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I'm double booked. And my agent was like, we can't make it. I remember you called me
You
like...
said, hey, you're like, Raven, I don't know if I can do this project.
And I'll never forget you calling me and go, are you sure you want to turn this down? And so I went back. She's like, call New York and see what they say when you tell them this is for Netflix. So I called New York. We'll work it out. And anyway, we worked it out where I had to leave set at 3 p.m. because I had to make my flight. And everybody was upset. Why 3? Why 3? Because if something happened to my flight, at 3 p.m., I could still drive through the night and make it to Atlanta at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, the flight, come on, it'll be fine. Long story short, I leave set at 3. It starts thundering and lightning. I start getting the text messages that they're moving my flight back. And I told the Uber driver, go to Enterprise, and I rented a car. And you'll love this. I rent a car, and he goes, they're like, you can't rent a car to Atlanta. I said, what about DC? You can rent a car to DC. I said, okay. He says, you just gonna go to DC? I said, yes. So I rented the car to DC, and I drove to Atlanta through the night. I got here at like 6 a.m. I took a nap, hit my call time, because I'm not gonna mess up what Raven Drummer did for me. I'm not gonna mess up this opportunity, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. So I think it was like a 14-hour drive. My daughter, my wife, everybody had an hour where they would call and talk to me to keep me awake. But I remember getting off a set. Of course, it was a 12-hour day with Tyler.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's like, so I get off a set and I get to my car and I realize, and I had like 20 text messages. The car is reported stolen. Like, you didn't turn it in, brother. Like, and it's a whole day later now. And so I'm like,
gosh.
So the next day I was off. I just drove it to Enterprise Atlanta and dropped it off. I didn't say anything.
Here.
I said, me and my daddy will work it out. Get the lawyer on the phone.
Hilarious.
But you got to do whatever it takes. That's a better story than I was supposed to be in Straw, but I missed my flight, and I got in at noon, but they said it was too late. And I can't tell those stories. There are no time machines. Back to the Future is my favorite movie. So I think about right now, what would I have done had I known everything was going to go wrong, and I planned that way.
Yeah.
So, but you said you want to talk about Straw.
Because I do want to talk about Straw, because you, my friend, again, take the best risks.
Oh, God.
So, you worked on Straw, Tyler Perry's Straw. It's just on Netflix. Huge success.
'1 in the world for 3 weeks, if you count those.
And you just, exactly.
If you're in 100 million views.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And one of the things that I loved is that you, memorized other people's lines, correct?
Yes, always.
So, and you always do it.
Yeah.
So you memorize other people's lines, and you also, so for those of you who don't know, Tyler Perry films very quickly. And so you could be filming 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 pages in a day. And so the pace is very fast. You took it upon yourself to know exactly like when we were doing what. So you never, ever, ever missed. There was never an opportunity for you to miss your particular moment or your scene. Yeah. Is that correct?
I was supposed to be in 6 scenes. I ended up in 9 scenes. I got thrown out of 3 scenes.
Okay, please break that down. How did that happen, sir?
First and foremost,
yes.
I called you.
Yes.
And I said, I want to be in this movie. Because I always said, I don't care if Medea sneezes, I just want to say, God bless you.
Yes.
And so I saw the role, and it was a smaller role, but there were so many scenes.
Yeah.
And it said, supporting, small role. But I said, it says 6 scenes. I could turn that into something there. And you were like, are you sure it's a small role? I'm like, yes. Mm-hmm. I want to play Officer Dixon. So, it's not like you booked me, you sent me the sides. But when you get to set with Tyler, like, he does shoot fast. I saw people miss their scene.
Yeah.
Where's John? We don't know where he is. Hey, you know John's lines? This, and action.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, John's here. John can go home.
Right.
John's going to tell his friends, I was supposed to be in Straw.
Right.
So, like, a couple times where Tyler was like, where's Anthony? I said, I'm right here. Because I'm literally standing next to the man. There was another time where everybody was set, and he goes, where's Dixon? We need Anthony. Where's Anthony? And I just raised my hand, and he said, damn. I'm standing in the scene. He didn't. No PA came to get me because I was already on set. They were looking for him, and so I'm constantly. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And then there was like I was on first team, and so when Tiana and Rockman Dunbar and Mike Merrill was going to do the scene, I would go with them, and sometimes I wasn't in the scene.
Yeah.
And a couple of times they said, "Roll, action."
Yeah.
Now I'm in the scene, And
can you talk about when Deuce was like, and shout out to Deuce, love you, Deuce.
Yeah. So we had to do a pickup shot at the end of the movie, and I flew back from Dallas because I live in Atlanta. Yeah. And so I flew back to Dallas for the pickup shot, stayed at the Thompson. My wife was like, you don't do this very well. Yes. So all this money to get the last minute flight, the hotel, to rent a car.
Yeah.
And they set up the scene, and I'm not in it. Tyler didn't put me in it. And it's at the very scene where there's a big arrest scene. And I'm talking to, I guess you said Deuce, and I said, hey, I'm supposed to be in this scene. He goes, you think so? I said, I know so. I did not know so. And he said, if you want to get in it, get in it. So I went and got in the scene. Right. And then so Tyler's like, all right, ready, speed. And he's just staring at me. He's like, damn, this guy. And he goes, Anthony, I need you. You're not really here. So go back in the grass. So back up. I took one step back. Tyler said, action. And I'm in there in slow motion. They go to everybody else. I'm right there. I was in the premiere like, yeah, this the scene I wasn't supposed to do. But I'm in that scene.
That's what I love. Like, it's unheard of for an actor to put themselves in a scene that they're not.
This is terrible. So I got cool with Rockman and Tiana and stuff like that, and Mike. And there was a scene at the very end. It's just supposed to be Mike and Tiana, and like the car's moving away, and he said, "This is our hero shot." And I never forget. They couldn't find Mike. So. I stepped into the scene. And I knew I was about to get thrown out of the scene. So I was like, Rockman. So the Rockman comes over and he gets in the scene. And then they're like, action. And right when they said action, Mike shows up. And then Rockman turns and says something to Tiana. And then the car rolls away. And Tyler says, cut. And everyone looks at me like, man, you are definitely fired. You brought in other actors into a scene that you jumped into that you had no business in. And I'll never forget, Tyler looked at me, he got on a megaphone and said, that's a wrap. And so, in that scene, it's only my shoulder now, but Rockman is in that scene that we jumped in because, he shoots fast.
Right.
And so I just don't have any fear. I was scared on the way home. I called you on the flight like, hey, I came over here. I was like, I think I messed up. I think I did too much.
You did what? You put yourself in the scene.
Well, another thing that you thought I did too much of. So we wrap, and then they go through, if anybody's not in the movies, they go through and they call out all the famous people or the top of the call sheet. Yeah. And everyone gives them a rap and clap.
Yes.
And then there's a guest star, you get it. But when I was, I don't know, I was 16 on the call sheet. So I'm not getting my clap rap, right? Yeah. And so Tyler goes to everybody, and he gets to Taraji P. Henson, and everybody goes crazy. And he said, did I miss anybody? He said, anybody. Me. Yeah. He turned, he said, who's his name again? And then he said, that's a rap on Anthony Williams.
Wow.
I went crazy. You couldn't tell me anything.
Oh, my gosh.
You couldn't tell me anything.
That's incredible.
But it was indicative of me the whole time. Had I not been that guy the whole time.
You were always that guy. Always that guy.
He was not surprised. But I think something happened, though, because when he went to edit and stuff like that, I'm all over the thing.
Yeah,
and I'm doing everything. I'm running in, and you got to know your lines. If you got to run into a scene, you don't know what the scene is. It's not like they cheated it. I was really running down from the hallway, and they're in the middle of a conversation, and I'm hearing them on the hallway so I can figure out which scene I'm in so I can give my line. And so
the thing I love is like you were prepared enough.
What
I mean by that is like in the event that anything happened, you were absolutely prepared to be there right when you needed to be there.
There was a couple roles that they said, hey, this person just got COVID. What do we got? Hey, I know their lines.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I want to talk about moment befores because you are like the king of moment befores. And this is something that, of course, the average person may not know, but because I see plenty of your auditions, I see many of your moment befores.
Are we going to talk about that one?
We are not going to talk about that one.
It involved baby oil.
Maybe we should talk about it and cut it out. We'll save that for the Patreon. But you're making me want to talk about that one moment.
It's your favorite audition. It's not my favorite.
All right. Look, Thad, please note, we may cut this out because it's so inappropriate, but I have to set it up because at least we need to film it. And cut. If you want to catch this portion of the podcast, please head to our Patreon account at Rad Media Studios to catch the juicy details of Anthony's epic moment before. Again, note this is for adult ears and eyes only. Now, let's get back to the podcast. We had a lot of conversation. We went very viral for talking about the first 4 seconds of an audition. But I genuinely love watching your first 4 seconds. There's something where whenever you set an audition, I'm almost anticipating to see how is Anthony, going to approach the entire audition, but it's definitely the beginning. Is that strategic for you?
It is, but I know you, and I know that I've sat with you, and I've sat for hours. It sounded like it's a horrible idea.
And you've watched me watch auditions.
It is a horrible idea.
To watch me watch auditions?
Yeah, I mean, meaning that
to watch a casting director.
Extremely boring.
Gotcha.
But I think every actor should ask to intern or work with a casting director because I sat next to you for 2 hours one day, and it was a doctor, and he goes, "Hey, how you doing, ma'am? Let me go ahead and see your arm. Hey, how you doing, man? Let me go and see. Hey, how you doing, man? Let me see your arm. Hey, man, you doing, man? Hey, how the kids? Everything fine? All right. How's John? He's good. He's good. All right. So you're good. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at that arm. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We both stopped and we looking. I said, I'll never audition the same way again.
Wow.
I'll never audition the same way again.
Wow. That's so good. So good.
It's the same line.
It's just, yes,
You
but there's
just-
something, it's just the psychology of it too. Wow, sir. All right, so let's talk about our friendship because, no, let's talk about our friendship because I think and I've gotten this question a lot, which is like, how do you befriend a casting director?
You
And-
don't.
And that's my answer.
You don't.
But I'm sitting here with an actor
Yeah.
who is the godfather of my child, you know? So and I don't know, like you may have other casting director friends that you have, but let's talk about our friendship, how it evolved, and then what advice would you give other actors who want to befriend, and that may not just actors, or the agents or directors, like how would you approach that?
Well, first of all, it was a little light stalking, right? So lots of letters, emails, postcards. And, the handwriting on the postcard was my wife's. So she knew I had a whiteboard in my house in Virginia that said Raven Drummer. And like
I
all the
love
things
it.
she worked on, I would look at it every day.
Wow.
And when I decided to move to Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta because of Raven Drummer.
That's crazy.
And getting to know Raven Drummer and
Wow.
understanding Raven Drummer. When I moved to New York, I only moved for Law and Order.
Wow.
And so I'm very intentional about what I'm doing.
And as soon as you booked Law and Order, you moved. That's amazing. Anyway,
List the
continue.
house, baby. We got to go. We've completed our mission.
Right.
But our friendship actually started at Houston's on
Yeah.
our. So what happened? First of all, doing things for free, doing things that might not seem perfect. I remember going to your class, which it was like $150.
Yeah.
And got to spend like 3 hours with you and do auditions and all this.
Yeah.
I paid for that,
Yeah.
and it was worth the money. It was a value.
Yeah.
Then I saw that you were doing a play and that there was going to be hours and hours of rehearsals, and it said no pay.
Yeah.
And I said, what a value.
Wow.
I get to get all that time with Raven Drummer for free.
Wow.
And so that's how I approached, I just paid $150.
Yeah.
Now I felt like I was getting paid to be in this play to do it. And so that happened. And then I felt then, since there was no pay, technically, I remember calling you saying, hey, listen, there was no pay for the play.
Yeah.
Did I do well? You did well. I said, all I ask for you is that we have lunch once a month. And
Yeah.
so we would go to lunch once a month. And it was awkward at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was awkward.
Yeah.
And then lunch turned into dinner. We're gonna have dinner this time.
Yeah.
And then I remember, but at Houston's one time, we were having lunch and I just said, what do you really want to do? And you said, well, I'm really not so passionate about casting. It's producing and it's writing and it's directing. I said, oh. And then we started having a completely different conversation. And we would talk
Absolutely.
maybe 5 or 10 minutes about casting or what's out there, but the rest of
Yeah.
the time was just us talking about dreams and how we're gonna go
Absolutely.
after it and buying houses and
Yeah.
boyfriends.
Yes. You've been through at least 2-3 boyfriends.
I've survived many.
Yes. I love that because as much as, you were intentional about positioning yourself
Yeah.
to be, I'll say, in my orbit, I still feel like our friendship just really naturally and organically progressed,
Once the conversation went away from casting and I understood what your
Yeah.
dreams and ambition was, then we connected on more of a genuine level. And that's why I say you don't become friends with a cat, you become friends with the person.
Yeah. One of the things I also love about what you said is like when you really understood me as a person, you're like, oh, I'm not nervous anymore. Like it's just
Right.
Raven I'm auditioning for, you
Right.
know? Like it took away like the nerves that come. Oh wait, what was that face? What was that face for?
So I'm pretty open about insecurities. I always talk about the fact that
Yeah.
I don't have a six pack, which I'm working on. I got 2 where they go away every now and again. They're not even either. Teddy, how do you get them? Anyway. So, I had a problem when I first started acting. I saw this with with another actress in New York where we went to go do Actors Connection, and the agents, casting directors are normally white.
Mm-hmm.
And she went up there, and she's a great actress, and she froze and she couldn't get her words out. And then after I said, what happened? She said, well, I get nervous in front of white people. I said, wow, that's crazy, because that's all I know is white people. And so when I came to Atlanta, one of the things that I had to work on, I had a horrible audition for, I remember, I got so depressed. It was for Zoe Ever After.
Oh, wow.
And I went in there, I completely bombed. It was for Tyler, was casting director. I can't remember the casting director name, but
is it a guy?
no, it's a female. You worked with her before.
Alpha Tyler.
And I killed the first audition, and the second audition, like they were in there dying laughing at this guy. I said, man, he must be really funny.
Yeah.
And so then I went in there, and I was nervous because all black people in the room, which I wasn't used to. And I remember saying, I'm just keeping it real. Other than the barbershop and my cousins, I didn't know that many.
Yeah.
And so when I started acting, they were dying laughing. I was like, hey, they're like, ha, ha, ha. What the hell are you laughing at? All I said was, hey. I do my next line, ah. I said, what in the hell are they laughing at? And so what I didn't realize is when you do a commercial, when a comedy audition, they laugh like the laugh track.
Oh.
But because I was already so nervous because of my environment, I'm not used to being around people of color, and I felt extra judged by black people. I didn't care what white people thought of me.
Yeah.
I care what black people think of me. And so when I came to Atlanta, part of that was to get that out of me. So when you talk about being nervous, the play was like my biggest fear.
Gotcha.
You know, being in a play with all black cast and black cast
very
director,
black
director.
story.
I'm like, man, look at me.
Wow.
You know, so.
Wow. The fact that you can still quote that play almost 10 years later.
See, you won't do it, Mary. I can't say the rest.
I know. Exactly. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But attacking your fears is important.
Got you. So you've worked in multiple markets. You've worked in LA, you've worked in New York, Atlanta. What is different about those markets? So like in your experience, do you have a different approach to each market?
No. I mean, once you get to set, set is set, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to set, you realize nobody's from where they say they're from.
That's true.
The director's from LA.
Yeah.
The script supervisor's from New York. Half the cast is, some people came in from Virginia or flew in from whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I do think though, there's a hierarchy as far as how, if you live in Atlanta, you could be local hire to Atlanta. If you live in Atlanta, you better fly yourself to New York and to LA. This is just my own theory.
Yeah.
If you live in New York, you can get flown to Atlanta, but you got to fly yourself to LA. If you live in LA, you don't have to fly yourself anywhere. You're top talent, baby. And so it doesn't mean the talent's different. It's just the way that they perceive it, the way that they pay you, and things of that nature. And I always felt, this is me, and this is when I was here from 15 to 19, I felt like a lot of the guest stars, a lot of the recurring, 2015, I felt like a lot of the guest stars and recurring, they weren't getting locally. They were flying in. And the part of the, not heated, but the debate we had at that taco place was that, you know, if you're not doing guest stars now, what makes you think? I said, well, they're flying people in, so they might as well fly me in. And you said you're gonna move to New York just to get flown back into Atlanta, and I said, God willing.
I'm rolling my eyes.
And it happened within like a year.
Yeah, that is true.
So I don't.
And it was me. It was me who did it.
You was the one who did it. And so my thing is like, I don't complain about. Here's the game. Here are the rules to the game. I don't care what's fair. I don't care what's right. I don't care how it should be. I'm gonna play the game.
Yeah.
And so me moving and me positioning myself to different markets is how I play the game. And it's very difficult for most people to tell an agent, oh, I'm local everywhere. They don't want to hear that. And I'll say, well, I did 2 shows in Atlanta and I did 2 feature films in New York and I live in Dallas. I don't have to say I can do it. I've already done it.
Yeah, that's real.
So booking also takes away that whole conversation with people.
Ooh, this is so good. Let's talk fam. You wrote, you didn't direct it, but you wrote and you starred in and produced a project called Fam based on your own life.
Correct.
And one of the things I love about this story, because I've produced projects and I've put it in festivals, but I remember we went to lunch or dinner and you showed me a spreadsheet of every single festival you submitted it to and of how much money you spent. Can you talk about the process of Fam and when you go all in, you go all in?
Well, yeah. So everybody knows Jay-Z, but people don't understand why they made Rockefeller Records. And he said, I couldn't get a deal. So we did it out of necessity. So the first TV show I was on was my show.
Yeah.
I had to show and prove. And so once I put together the money, I got Kyle Romanek from my first feature in Virginia.
Yeah.
He flew in to direct it. Me and Moses Jones did the casting.
Yeah.
You know, Casey Ali played my daughter. Candace West played my wife. We put together this cast, and it was literally my life story from, you know, how I met my ex, and there's a couple things we changed for entertainment value,
Yeah.
but I was bleeding on the page.
Yeah.
And so when it was time to get it out there, once it was done, and it was like, who are you gonna send it to? Who are you gonna submit it to? Everybody.
Exactly.
And everybody cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so it gets into the thousands, and
Yeah.
it gets addictive. And then every day you get an email from the submission site, and everybody's giving you 20% off. But at the end of the day, I got into 50 film festivals. We won 10 awards. I got Best Actor at multiple festivals, including Series Fest.
Nice.
But my favorite thing is I didn't get into ABFF, and I didn't get into Series Fest. And there's one other big festival I didn't get into the first time or the second time, but I got in the third time. And so I've submitted to you. You've rejected me twice.
Yeah.
I get in the third time, and then you give me an award.
Wow.
It's the same material. It's a different time.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I say everybody, and what if I don't hear from anybody, Anthony? Then you submit it to everybody again.
Wow.
And it's the same thing with casting directors and agents. Nobody came back. Well, we're going to do it again.
Wow, that's so good. What does the future look like for you, sir?
I have no idea. That's what I love about it. That's like the improv.
Yeah.
I don't know. So right now my focus is on LA.
Yeah.
My house is for sale in Dallas. I'm over that part of my life. And,
you've been talking about LA for a long time.
I've been talking about LA for a long time,
Yeah.
but I have established this is my whole master plan.
Yeah.
Establish myself so much in Atlanta that even when I'm not here, I'm here.
Yeah.
Establish myself in New York so much that even when I'm not there, I'm there.
Yeah.
And so now when I get to LA, I already have a manager in LA. I have my agent in New York. I'm a free agent in Atlanta right now. But establish yourself so much in these other markets that when you get to LA, it's not like, oh, you're taking a risk. You're going out to LA. LA's really, well, I'm still in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so the difference between me and other actors when I meet with agents is I'm willing to do everything. This is my goal, but I'm willing to do every single step of hell to get there, including doing background work, doing casting workshops, doing one-lines, to all the way up to recurring guest stars and hopefully, movie star status. But going through Atlanta, New York, and LA was part of my ladders, a part of my plan to get to the promised land.
I love that. Well, something I wanted to do with you before we do the last segment is, I know we're talking about the future, but I wanted to go back and look at the past too.
I'm a little nervous what you're about to show me now.
Don't be nervous, sir. Hold on. Let me pull up my Breakdown Services account. I was trying to figure out which audition I should pull up, but I feel like we should start with JP. And look, I want to show you what my notes say.
All right.
Look, this is my notes from 2016. What does that say?
He is JP. Like, no doubt in my mind, top choice.
That was literally, and of course you booked the role. And that was literally my note for you way back when. This is before we were friends. This is before all that. So anyway.
I have to share this. There's a line in that audition where he's talking to a man about his wife, the other guy's wife.
Yeah.
And he's talking about something that the guy's wife said to him.
Yeah.
And the line is, marriage is hard. That's what she said to me. I'll liquored up and honest. And I was like, okay, that's a good line.
Yeah.
But when I got into the audition room, and it was time for me to mock his wife, I said, marriage is hard.
You did say that.
That's what she told me. I'll liquored up and honest. And you threw the script in the air. And after that, I said, I'm never just auditioning regular again. I want every cast director to throw the script in the air.
I love it.
And whatever you see in your mind, you should just go ahead and throw it out there.
You definitely make sure that you book the room, and you are definitely someone who we will remember.
I learn from the best. You
see, absolutely. All right, so let's watch JP.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't remember if it was take one or take two or scene one.
Marriage is hard. Man, watch, I misremembered it, and I already said what I did.
Oh no, this is the one with Amy. Hold on, let me do this.
I can't believe you still have this. This is like
Of course I do.
2016.
We can't watch the whole thing. It's just 5 minutes long.
Look, man,
Can you see
me and you, we don't have that much talking to do.
And we don't do it. Yeah, small talk. What was I thinking? Right? But I have to admit, I did appreciate you trying to sum up the truth about the real Amy. I mean, you lost some things in translation, but the attempt was well received.
Shut the fuck up.
I gotta say, before I shut the fuck up, that, why did you answer and not Eve? Huh?
That was a question?
Is it hard to watch
Indeed
this?
it was. Interesting.
Look, I don't take well to punk asses talking out the side of their neck about her, okay?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And see, I'm like that too about Jessa.
Why are you bringing my wife into this?
What? I'm just saying, homie. The way you feel about Amy is the way I feel about Jessa, you know? I fucked Jessa. I fucked with Jessa. I fucked with Jessa. She's cool. You know? She's cool. Especially a year ago at David's birthday bash. Oh, yeah. She was real cool.
She was drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, and I took care of her, you know, made sure she was all right. Yeah. After you went home early for work and everything, we stayed up all night laughing. Jess. You know, Jess, you and I, we're not all that different. You think we are, but we're not. Got a lot of similar things that we're interested in.
You know, I know who you are.
You do? That's what's up, homie. Because you know, sometimes I don't know myself. I don't know what I'm capable of, you know? I just do crazy shit. But in my heart, I ain't so bad.
You're worse.
Why? Huh? Why? Because we defer in the way we go about things? You know, married people and single people, they're not that different, but there's a whole world of difference between happy people and unhappy people.
So?
So quit pushing that nigga to get married and push him to be happy.
You are...
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm proud of him. He looks like a movie
Yes.
star. He looked like he's booked multiple shows
That's
and projects. He's probably more
incredible.
confident than I am. I mean, because he just doesn't know anything. He's
Yeah,
just
I love it.
pure ambition, you know. And shout out to Dewey Gerard. I feel like
Yeah.
I found my voice with him. It was my way to be authentically black, but he writes in, I gotta say, how do I say this? I felt like that character went to college and had a degree.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't, and I could
Yeah.
speak, you know, the way that I speak and say words. I don't know. It's just, I love saying his words. Just did Blank Pages in Brooklyn, and we did
Yes.
3 shows in New York recently.
Please,
So.
if you're not familiar with Dewey Gerard, please look him up.
Emmy nominated. Dewey
Emmy
Gerard.
nominated Dewey Gerard.
But wow, I can't believe that was a long time ago.
I know. I wanted to bring that up.
That's
with you,
zero
so
sleep, by the way. 24
I know.
hours off the plane from Florida.
I believe it. All right, so we have rapid fire questions, and
All
then
right.
we'll wrap you up. All right.
All right.
So, first question: what's the first role you ever booked?
The first role I ever booked.
Yes. Do you remember?
It was a oh yes, oh god. It was a doctor and a student film about making male robots. I need to buy that.
Got
Make
you.
sure it never sees the light of day.
Hilarious. All right. Coffee, tea, or energy drink before an audition?
Coffee. But
Okay.
I gotta hurry up because I'm lactose intolerant. So as soon I gotta get through the audition. Yeah.
Hilarious. Dream actor or actress that you'd love to do a scene with?
Dream actor or actress that I'd love to see. Zendaya.
Oh, that's
The
a good
movie,
one.
but the movie with the tennis movie.
Yeah, Challengers.
Challengers.
Yeah.
Oh, she talking junk in that movie.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
a
oh,
good
she
one.
could play. You
Yeah.
know? So
What's one movie or play you can quote every word? You can quote word for word.
Back to the Future.
Nice. Most embarrassing audition story in one sentence.
In one sentence.
In one sentence.
The gentleman gets on the elevator and it goes down. I hit the button I'm in frame. And in front of the room, I drop to my knees out of frame.
That's pretty embarrassing. Yes.
The laughter when the door shut was gut-wrenching. And it was ABC. And it was a pilot.
If you were an actor, what career would you be in?
There's no scenario.
I knew you were going to say that.
There's no scenario.
And lastly, what's one word that describes the future for Anthony E. Williams?
Limitless.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you
This
so
was
much.
so good. Give it up for Anthony E. Williams. Woo! That was terrific.
You have to edit some of that out.
I am going to have to edit some of that out.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning into the Act Up podcast. If something in this episode lit a fire in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another actor or creator or another dreamer. This show is powered by Rad GPT, The Break-In. This is my digital audition prep service that helps you prep like a pro and perform with purpose. Head to www.radgpt.org to start your own scene prep breakthrough. And if you want to keep this conversation going, sign up for my newsletter, Beyond the Backdrop. It's where we talk about the business and the becoming behind the work. I am Raven Drummer, your host, and remember, please take flight.